You won't believe how many people are walking around right now feeling absolutely broken, convinced that their flaws have made them a failure. We live in a world that worships the perfect pot, the person who never cracks, never spills a drop, and hits every target with clinical precision. We look at our own lives, at the mistakes we made into leaks in our character, and we feel like we're just a burden. But what if I told you that your greatest weakness isn't a defect? What if that crack you were so ashamed of is actually the only reason beauty is growing in your wake? Now, imagine a humble farmer. Every single morning, long before the sun even thought about peeking over the horizon, this man was on his feet. He lived a simple life, a life of grit and purpose, and his daily ritual involved a long trek to a distant well to fetch water for his family. To do this, he used a sturdy wooden pole balanced across his shoulders, with a clay pot dangling from each end. One of these pots was a masterpiece. It was smooth, perfectly rounded, and flawless. It held every drop of water from the well, all the way back to the kitchen. It was, quite literally, the perfect pot. But the other one had a story. It had a jagged little crack running down its side. And because of that crack, by the time the farmer walked the long, dusty path home, the pot was only half full. For 2 whole years, this went on. Every day, the farmer delivered 3 pots worth of water instead of 4. The perfect pot was insufferable without it. It was proud, arrogant, and looked down its smooth nose at its companion. It would boast, "Look at me. I'm efficient. I'm reliable. I actually do the job I was made for." But the cracked pot, it sat in the corner of the kitchen, drowning in shame. It felt worthless. It watched the farmer toil under the midday sun, dripping with sweat, and it thought, "I am wasting this man's effort. I am a broken tool." Eventually, the shame became too heavy to carry. One morning, by the side of the well, the cracked pot finally spoke up in a voice trembling with emotion. "Master, I am so sorry. I'm a failure. I want you to throw me away and find a pot that actually works." The farmer looked down, his eyes crinkling with a warmth that could melt ice. "Why on earth would you say that?" "Because of my crack," the pot sobbed. "I leak. You work so hard. You walk so far. And half of your effort literally vanishes into the dirt. Because I'm too broken to hold living. I'm a burden to you." The farmer didn't scold the pot. He didn't agree. Instead, he smiled a gentle, knowing smile. "As we walk back today, I want you to stop looking at your own cracks. I want you to look at the side of the road." As they began the journey back, the cracked pot did as it was told, and for the first time in years, it actually saw the path. On its side of the road, there was a literal explosion of life. There were wildflowers, vibrant blues, fiery oranges, and soft pinks dancing in the breeze. The fragrance was intoxicating. The dew on the petals sparkled like diamonds in the morning sun. It was a corridor of beauty in an otherwise dusty world. But when they reached the house and the pot realized it had still leaked half its water, the sadness returned. "I saw the flowers, Master. They were beautiful. But I still failed you. I'm still half empty." The farmer sat the pots down and spoke with a voice that echoed like a deep bell. "Did you notice, little friend, that the flowers only grew on your side of the path? Did you see that the perfect pot's side was nothing but dry, barren earth?" The pot blinked, confused. "You see," the farmer continued, "I've always known about your flaw. I knew you leaked. So, months ago, I took a handful of flower seeds and I scattered them all along your side of the path. And every single day, as we walked back from the well, you watered them. You didn't even know you were doing it. Drop by drop, your weakness was giving life to those seeds. You weren't wasting my effort. You were creating a garden. Without your crack, I wouldn't have this beauty in my life. I wouldn't have flowers for my table or fragrance for my home. Your flaw didn't make you useless, it made you a creator." The perfect pot, listening from the other side of the pole, felt its pride shatter. It realized that while it was busy being perfect, it was also leaving the world exactly as it found it. Dry and empty. It understood that its flawless nature meant it kept everything for itself, while the cracked pot's defect was a gift to the earth. Now, think about your own leaks. Maybe you think you're too emotional, or you've struggled with your mental health, or you've made a mess a relationship. You look at the perfect pots on social media, the people who seem to have it all together, and you feel like a burden. But have you looked at the path behind you? Have you noticed the people you've comforted because you understand pain? Have you seen the empathy that grew in your heart because you know what it is like to be broken? Your cracks are where the light gets in, and more importantly, they are where the water gets out to the seeds that are waiting to grow. We spend so much energy trying to seal our cracks, trying to be flawless, that we risk becoming barren. The world doesn't need more perfect pots. It needs more gardens. It needs people who are brave enough to be broken and still keep walking the path. True sovereignty isn't about being without flaws. It is about the power of no, saying no to the lie that you are worthless because you are different. It asks about the price of access, realizing that the beauty you create is only possible because of the specific way you are broken. If you're feeling like a failure today, I want you to take a breath. Look at the flowers in your life, the kindness you've shown, the resilience you built, the love you've given, even when you felt empty. Those flowers wouldn't be there if you were perfect. This story is a call to stop the empathy tax. You repay to your own shame. Stop apologizing for being human. You aren't a broken tool. You are a purposeful vessel. The farmer knows exactly what he's doing when he picks you up every morning. If this message touched a nerve, if it made you look at your own cracks a little differently, then do us a massive favor. Like this video and share it with that one mate who is currently being too hard on themselves. You never know, this might be the water their seeds need today. Subscribe to the channel. Join our community of beautiful, cracked souls, and let's keep growing together. Leave a comment with the word bloom if you're ready to embrace your flaws today. But the story didn't just end at the farmhouse gate. You see, once you realize that your cracks have a purpose, the way you walk the path changes forever. The perfect pot spent that night in the quiet of the kitchen, staring at its own smooth, cold reflection in the moonlight. For the first time, it felt a strange, hollow ache. It realized that being perfect was the loneliest thing in the world. It had brought back 100% of the water, yes, but it hadn't brought a single ounce of joy to the road. It had fulfilled its duty, but it hadn't created a legacy. The next morning, as the farmer lifted the wooden pole, the perfect pot did something it had never done before. It leaned into the wooden beam, trying to find a way to connect with its cracked companion. "I've been thinking," the perfect pot whispered, its voice no longer sharp with pride. "I have all this water inside me, and yet my side of the road is a desert. I am full, but I am useless to the seeds. How do you do it? How do you let it go?" The cracked pot, now walking with a light heart, replied softly, "You don't try to let it go. You just stop trying to hold it all in. You realize that the water isn't yours to keep. It's just passing through you to get where it needs to be." As the weeks turned into months, a fascinating vibe shift began to happen. The perfect pot started to undergo its own transformation. It didn't develop a physical crack nature does untours break us on the outside buta. It developed a crack in the ego. It began to tilt itself slightly during the walk, splashing just a few drops over its rim onto the dry earth on its side of the path. It wasn't perfect anymore in the eyes of the kitchen cupboard, but it was becoming purposeful. Slowly, tiny green shoots began to appear on the perfect side of the road. They weren't as tall as the flowers on the underside yet, but they were there. The farmer noticed. He didn't scold the perfect pot for losing a few drops. Instead, he hummed a low, soulful tune as he walked. He saw that both his pots were now working together to turn the entire dusty track into a corridor of life. This is the architecture of the sovereign soul. It's the moment you realize that your strengths, the water you carry, and your weaknesses, the water you leak, are both currencies. Most people spend their lives in a kindness trap, trying to be the perfect pot for everyone else holding everything in, never showing a flaw, never admitting they are tired. They arrive home full, but the path behind them is dead. David, Matt, and Eliasa, characters we met earlier, they all eventually realized this. They realized that the price of access to a beautiful life is the willingness to be seen as imperfect. Matt, the maths genius, had been a perfect pot for too long, holding in all his stress until he was hollow. It was only when he allowed himself to leak to show his frustration, to play football badly, to be human, that his own garden began to grow. One day, a great drought hid the village. The well ran low, and the path became scorched and cracked under a brutal sun. The villagers were terrified of the December fear. worried that the beauty of the valley would vanish forever. The farmer continued his walk, but the water was precious now. Every drop mattered more than ever. The cracked pot felt the old shame creeping back. "Master," it whispered, "perhaps now you should leave me behind. Every drop I leak is a drop the village needs to drink. I am a liability in a crisis." The farmer stopped. He set the pots down and looked at the cracked pot. "Do you see those trees at the end of the path?" he asked, pointing to a small grove of fruit trees that had grown from the flowers. "Those trees provide shade that keeps the path cool. They provide fruit that feeds the birds who keep the pests away from our crops. If you hadn't watered the flowers during the good times, the trees wouldn't be here to protect us during the bad times. Your waste was actually an investment in our survival." He looked at the perfect pot. "And you, my friend, have kept the family alive with the water you saved. Neither of you is the hero alone. You are a system. You are a balance. This is the silent revolution. It's the realization that nothing in your life is wasted. Not the years you spent in the wrong job. Not the heartbreaks that made you leak tears for months. Not the failures that made you feel cracked. All of it was watering seeds you couldn't see yet. The world will try to tax your empathy, telling you that you must be flawless to be valued. Don't pay that tax. The price of access to your soul is high because you're a garden maker. You are not a machine meant to transport data from point A to point B without a glitch. You are a living, breathing, leaking, beautiful mess of a human being. So, as we move toward the final horizon of this story, ask yourself, are you still hiding your cracks? Are you still pretending that you don't leak? Or are you ready to tilt the pot and let the water fall where it may? Remember, the December fear of the future is only scary if you think you have to face it perfectly. But if you face it as a sovereign soul with your cracks, your flaws, and your unique leaks, you will find that UVA already planted the forest that will shade you when the heat comes. Share this story with the perfect pot, and you're like the one who is so stressed about being flawless that they've forgotten how to breathe. Be the cracked pot that shows them it's okay to spill. Subscribe, join the vibe shift, and let's keep turning these dusty roads into gardens. Leave a comment with the word unshakable. If you've ever realized today that your flaws are your greatest assets, have you ever felt like you're not good enough? Like you have a crack, a flaw that makes you less than perfect? Well, let me tell you a story that might change the way you see yourself. It's a tale about an old farmer and two pots he used to carry water. Every single day, this farmer would walk down a long path from his home to a stream. He'd fill two large pots with water and carry them back, one hanging on each end of a wooden pole, balanced across his shoulders. Now, one of these pots was perfect. It was flawless, smooth, and held every single drop of water from the stream all the way back to the farmer's house. But the other pot, well, the other pot had a crack in it. By the time the farmer arrived home, this cracked pot would only be half full. For 2 whole years, this went on. The farmer would return home with 1.5 pots of water. The perfect pot was incredibly proud of its accomplishments. It knew it was doing exactly what it was made for, and it did it perfectly. But the cracked pot felt a deep sense of shame. It was miserable, always apologizing to the farmer for its flaw, for only being able to deliver half of what it was supposed to. It saw itself as a failure. One day, feeling especially down, the cracked pot spoke to the farmer. It said, "I am so ashamed of myself, and I want to apologize to you. Because of this crack in my side, I leak water all the way back to your house. You do all this work, and you don't get the full value from your efforts because of me." The old farmer just smiled gently. He looked at the pot with kindness and said, "As we walk back to the house today, I want you to pay close attention to the beautiful flowers growing on your side of the path." The pot was a little confused, but it agreed. As they made their journey back, the cracked pot did as it was told. And for the first time, it noticed something wonderful. It saw the most beautiful wildflowers, vibrant reds, sunny yellows, and deep purples growing all along its side of the path. The sun was shining on them, and they swayed gently in the breeze. It was a truly beautiful sight, and it cheered the pot up a little. But then, it remembered its flaw. As they reached the farmer's house, it saw that, once again, it had leaked out half its water. The shame returned, and it apologized to the farmer again for its failure. The farmer listened patiently and then said, "Did you notice that the flowers only grow on your side of the path? There are none on the other path's side." He continued, "That's because I have always known about your crack. I saw your flaw, and I decided to use it. I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, and every day, as we walk back from the stream, you've been watering them. For 2 years, I've been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate my home. Without you being exactly the way you are, with your special crack, I would not have this beauty to brighten up my life." The cracked pot was stunned. All this time it had seen its crack as a weakness, a source of shame. But the farmer saw it as a unique gift, something that brought beauty and life into the world. Its flaw wasn't the flaw at all, it was a purpose. This story is for anyone who has ever felt broken or imperfect. We all have our own unique cracks. Maybe it's something you're self-conscious about, a perceived weakness, or a past mistake you can't let go of. We spend so much time comparing ourselves to the perfect pots around us, feeling like we don't measure up. But here's the secret. It's our cracks, our vulnerabilities, our imperfections that make us who we are. They are what allow us to connect with others, to show compassion, and to grow in ways we never thought possible. Just like the cracked pot, your unique qualities, even the ones you think are flaws, can be a source of strength and beauty. Think about it. The most interesting people are never the perfect ones. They're the ones with stories, with scars, with quirks that make them relatable and real. Your supposed weaknesses might be the very things that enable you to water the seeds of kindness, creativity, and connection in your own life and in the lives of others. So, the next time you look in the mirror and see your cracks, don't be ashamed. Don't wish them away. Instead, ask yourself, what flowers can I water with this? How can my unique journey, my struggles, and my imperfections bring something beautiful into the world? Embrace your cracks. They are a part of your story, and they are what make you uniquely, beautifully, and purposefully you. Don't strive for a flawless existence. Strive for a life that uses every part of you, cracks and all, to make the world a little brighter. You are not broken. You are a source of life. You are exactly who you are meant to be. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel for more content that we hope will inspire and uplift you. Share this with someone who might need to hear it today. Remember, you are enough. See you in the next video. Your time is coming. Keep believing. Keep fighting. Don't just watch. Go out and prove them wrong. Thank you for being part of the journey. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.